Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the Ram HD and more specifically the Cummins. We have some really exciting news for this truck. Before we get in this video, I do want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram here in Provo for giving me some time with this Ram HD to use as kind of like a demo for this video. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Now this truck that I picked out for today's video has the 6.4 Hemi in it, and trust me, it'll make sense in a little bit. But anyways, I do want to talk about the specs on the new Cummins. Now we don't have official power specs quite yet, but what Ram has said with the new Cummins is that it is going to produce more power than the high output, and that they're just going to go to using one engine across the board. So right now we have a standard output and high output. Standard output Cummins puts out 370 horsepower and then 850 pound-feet of torque. You can get that on a 2500 or a 3500. And the 3500, you can get the high output Cummins that's 420 horsepower and then 1075 pound-feet of torque. Both of those are paired to a 6-speed automatic. The regular one is the 6-speed 68 RFE, and then the high output is the 6-speed Ison. And now, like I said, this new powertrain is going to have more power, more torque than the high output, and it's going to be standard across the board. So that means it's going to be on a 2500 and a 3500. And so more power, more torque. Well, if we look at Chevy, they're not really going to be in the running in terms of what Ram's going to use as a benchmark, because their Duramax puts out 470 horsepower and then 975 pound-feet of torque. But Ford's new high output Power Stroke is 500 horsepower and then 1200 pound-feet of torque. Now Ram, with the Cummins being an inline 6, is not really in the horsepower battle side of things, but they are obviously in the torque wars. And so this new Cummins could have over 1200 pound-feet of torque, and then that'll just be the standard engine. You know, with Ford, you have the standard Power Stroke, 475 horsepower and 1050 pound-feet of torque, but Ram's just gonna maybe give you 1200 plus pound-feet of torque no matter what Cummins you get, which is crazy. And that leads us to the other big news, which is the transmission. ZF just released an HD 8-speed automatic, and this is why I picked out a 6.4 Hemi, because I want to show you guys how an 8-speed automatic performs in a Ram HD. But anyways, 8-speed automatic transmission. So at minimum, we are probably at least going to get, for the 25 model year, that 8-speed automatic in the new Ram HD. We might not have the improved power outputs, you know, right off the bat, but at least that transmission. And then if we have that transmission plus the improved power outputs, I mean, that's gonna be a pretty crazy change to the truck. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe, because I post content every single day. Now I want to quickly go over some other notable changes that'll happen for the Ram HD. This one is a 24, so you guys can kind of see what that looks like. And we've got a couple of 25 Ram 1500s. These are Rebels back here. So with the 25 Ram 1500s, and here is a 24 Rebel, so you guys can kind of see the difference between this and the 25. They basically changed the tail lights. They changed some of the wheel designs on the exterior of the truck. And there's a Laramie as another example. Same thing, tail lights, wheel design. And then they changed the headlight design on the truck as well. So pretty safe to assume similar thing will happen to the HD, where you have some changes there. And then the interior changes, I don't know if this truck's locked or unlocked. Looks like it's locked. Are pretty minor. It's pretty much the same interior as before, some slight tweaks with some of the packages, but pretty much slightly different exterior with a lot of similar interior elements and different wheel styles and all of that. But that's pretty much the exterior stuff for the HD. That's why I didn't want to spend too much time on it. So with that being said, let's take this truck out, let's drive it, and let's talk about what the new Ram is going to feel like, because I think it's going to be pretty impressive. Now, before we set off, there is something else we have to talk about with a new ZF 8-speed automatic. Now, with the current Ram Cummins, you have a nice old-fashioned column shifter. With the 6.4 Hemis here, they have the 8-speed automatic, we have a dial shifter. Not confirmed, but you might have a dial shifter with the new 8-speed automatic. So, just take that into account. So when you're driving, you're probably 1200 plus pound-feet of torque, you can shift it into gear with your dial, you know? It is what it is, folks. It is what it is. So, again, I know this is probably weird for you guys to see me driving the 6.4 Hemi, but I want to show the performance with the 6.4 Hemi on the transmission side of things. Obviously, when it comes to horsepower and torque, yeah, this is, you know, a little bit more horsepower than the standard Cummins, a little bit less than the high output. But yeah, regardless, it's not really going to compare to those trucks when it comes to just the power delivery. But it is going to show us gear shifts and all of that, because it's an 8-speed automatic. And I find it fascinating that, you know, Ram replaced the transmission in the 6.4, because they used to use the 68 RFE in the 6.4, but they replaced this first before replacing the transmission in the Cummins. But it also made sense. If you don't know, the reason they replaced this one, you know, is probably as soon as they did, is the 68 RFE really was meant for a diesel. It was not meant for a gas engine. And that just, with the 6.4 Hemi, if you own one, you know, it's just not, it's not horrible, but it's not great either. So first thing you notice, having 2 extra gears helps out quite a bit with the power band, because you're always getting power. And look at the gear shifts, just how smooth and quick those are. Right, the gear shifts in the 6-speed, it takes a second, right? They take their good old time. So that makes for a big difference. And then on top of that, with the stop and start, it's also just smoother because it downshifts a little bit quicker, a little bit smoother compared to the 6-speed as well. Something else that'll be interesting to see is what the new Cummins sounds like, because, you know, as they tune the engines and change things, and sorry, let me adjust this a little bit. There we go. As they tune the engines, change things and all of that, it can change the sound. Oh my gosh. Dude almost blew right in. Okay, anyways, I used to be an adventurer just like you until I took a Toyota Camry to the side. But yeah, it helps out. I mean, look at this, for example, the acceleration. Like this, the sad thing to say is, you know, that's as quick to accelerate as a Cummins, because it's not because of a power deficit, right? And obviously the Cummins can pull way more, but it's just because of the gearing. So, you know, that first, second gear that you get in this 8-speed helps out so much. It makes a huge difference. And you look at Ford and Chevy with their 10 speeds, and yeah, it does make a big difference. And I just want to show that again, because anyone who drives a Cummins understands there's that, you put your foot in and there's that turbo lag and gear lag too, frankly. This obviously naturally aspirated engine, so you're not gonna have turbo lag, but just look at the, and then just boom with the gear shift. It doesn't, because with the Cummins it goes and then it shifts, right? So this is a lot more immediate. It's a lot quicker with the gear shift, so it's a better driving experience, if you ask me. So ooh, cool, bison. Anyways, so to sum things up, I'm really excited for the new Cummins. I'm excited to see what the power outputs are. And I want to try to set everyone's expectations properly, because, again, I think a lot of people are excited for the changes of the 25 Ram 1500, and then a lot of people have realized that it's pretty much just a different engine and slightly different styling on the outside, but pretty much the same truck. I think that's what we can expect with the Ram HD. I think that we're probably not going to see big changes with the suspension. We're probably not going to see big changes with the interior. Like, this is probably the interior for the new Ram HD. It'll all be engine transmission, just kind of like what we saw with the half tons, whereas again, it's engine with the half tons. Still have an 8-speed and a half ton. But regardless, let me know what you guys think about this situation, and let me know if you're excited for that, or are you concerned, right? Because one thing that I could see is, you know, there's a lot of people that'll get the standard output Cummins because they don't need the towing capability and the power of the high output. And, you know, with that standard output, it's under less stress than the high output, right? Whenever you have less horsepower and less torque, an engine's going to be like, it's just less stress on an engine. So let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know if you're kind of on the fence because you're worried about potential reliability issues that, you know, happen when you've got big power with the pickup truck. I mean, that's kind of what Chevy, not so much, but Ford definitely, with their high output power stroke and everything, there's some problems that can happen because that engine's just under so much stress with 1,200 pound-feet of torque. Something that I would like to see though change is maybe a bigger camera view. Ram could do that. They didn't do it on the half-ton, sadly, but maybe we can do it for the HD and then bring it over to the half-ton in a minute. But that's all, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this update, and let me know if you're excited or worried or both for the new Cummins.